way, the senior West Tabor is in there at quarterback. Saw Tebow through the first 2 series. Now in series number 3, it'll be Tabor. He wants to go to the air, has Max McCaffrey wide open, got it to 15. McCaffrey is into the end zone for a Valor touchdown. And just like that, it's 20-0 Valor Christian. Hi everybody, and welcome back to ISPN.TV, as once again we break down our latest 4A and 5A top 10s, along with Marty Cesario, Brian Roth with you. It's going to be the final time here this year that we do break down our top 10s because, well, everybody's going to be in the postseason coming up next week. Now, of course, we understand Class 5A already in the postseason with the 32 teams. We're going to let that kind of work itself out to the next 16 teams next week, and then we're going to break down that 5A. But we're going to kind of take a look back at the whole regular season and the way we see the top 10 teams going in to the round of 32. So without further ado, let's take a look at the top 10s. There you see them with the big game, Columbine and Mullen. And would you believe it, Mullen loses for the 2nd time this year.
Many called it the game of the year. And yeah, how about Coach Schultz from Grandview? Here he's thinking, well, we're the team that beat Mullen. Well, not just the only one now. Columbine, you know, I just think it's funny because the Rebels, you know, certainly were on our radar. And, you know, after our summer talks with Andy Lowry, you wonder, did they have the alignment that it usually need to do the thing that Columbine does? And the answer is obviously affirmative. I mean, you know, they came out strong too. They were up 17-7 at the half, 24-14 into the 4th quarter. They even opened up the air attack. 3 passes, 3 completions, including a touchdown to Cameron McDonald. So nice job by the quarterback, Justin Brown. So yeah, very strong win, and certainly the Rebels now have everyone's attention and like to have them. Many people have them up at the top, not us, but many people do.
Yeah, you look now at Class 5A. It is so wide open, and certainly more than what we have seen over the last couple of years, and certainly more than last year, where really it was Mullen's championship to lose with the talent that Dave Logan had there last year. Now, I mean, you can look at any number of teams, Marty, as bona fide contenders for a state championship. Obviously Grand Junction, obviously Columbine, there's Grandview, there's Pomona. Certainly Mullen is still going to be in that mix.
Absolutely, and I think it's indicative of what kind of program you are and the success you've had over the last couple of decades, if you will. You know, Mullen has 2 losses. People are saying kind of a down year for Dave Logan. Well, you know, their 2 losses are 2 teams within our final top 5 in the Class 5A poll. Mullen's going to be around, and you certainly don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, no, you don't. And you look at that field of 32, there are 2 undefeated teams, Grand Junction and in Columbine. They get the number 2 and 1 seeds, respectively. Columbine gets that number 1 overall seed, and Grand Junction gets the number 2 overall seed. And again, after the first round of action here this week, we'll be back with you coming up next Monday, and Marty and I will break down that entire 5A 16-team field. On to Class 4A, and as we look at those top 10s, Marty, they didn't change a single bit. Everybody wins in our top 10. Everybody stays in, but it was the first time that you and I had a chance to see Valor Christian in person this year. They destroyed Ponderosa 50-0.
Yeah, they looked really strong, and they validated everything I've been saying all season long, kind of like what I used to say about Mullen. You know, when they were making their 3-year run, you got to handle the line of scrimmage. So that's where I give the love. That D-line, Javon Johnson, Michael Mann, Stanley Gilbert, if you can't do anything up front and get across the line of scrimmage with any success of gaining 1 or 2 yards, it's not going to happen. And that's what we've seen repeatedly throughout the year. And then in that game against Pondo, you know, we saw it was 3 and out, and that was the deal.
Yeah, it was. And the McCaffrey brothers are phenomenal.
6 touchdowns. Nice night for the McCaffrey family.
Christian had 4 of them on the ground. Max McCaffrey, the senior who's headed to Duke, he had 2 of them, both coming through the air. You know, they rotate the quarterbacks, and I think both of the seniors are very good. There just isn't a weakness. Boy, the special teams are outstanding. When you go back to punt, you better be in max protect because they are coming after you off the edges every single time. And again, a game earlier this year, Max McCaffrey had 3 blocked punts in a single game, 2 of which he returned for touchdowns. Valor is solid. We knew it. The question becomes, is there a team in 4A that can even give them a game? I mean, we're not saying maybe beat them. Can anybody give them a game?
Right now, I think you just got to bluntly say the reality is probably not. I mean, you know, we went through our final 5A poll, and Valor put the only blemish on 2 of those top 5 squads, you know, in Pomona and Grandview, and did it handily. Now, Pomona, you know, there's an asterisk because they were missing 60% of their starters.
Sure.
But, you know, right now, I think you got to put it out there, and, you know, I do it in kind of a challenging way because, you know, this is football testosterone here. I don't think you can. If you can, hey, bring it, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, again, you look at the Class 4A top 10s. There's Longmont's undefeated. There's Monarch, they're undefeated. There's Pine Creek, they are undefeated. You can't forget about Wheat Ridge either there, Marty. One of those teams I know would love a shot at Valor. They're going to get their shots at Valor here, but I know to a man in each one of those programs that we have mentioned there, they probably feel that they can give Valor a pretty good game.
Yeah, well, in a couple of those squads you mentioned, you know, in terms of mental toughness and blue-collar, you know, ethics and willingness to go 4 quarters with 100% effort, Monarch, Wheat Ridge, you know, those are squads, their character and identity. Oh, they're coming.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of Valor's, when you take on them, they've got 22 of those guys. And, you know, do the other squads have that kind of depth, you know, all across the board, the complete package?
Yeah, we'll take a little closer look coming up next week at the contenders, those teams that have a chance to knock out Valor when the 4A brackets are released coming up next week, because they still have 1 more week left on their schedule. And with that being said, just a reminder, coming up here this week, we're going to have Monarch and Wheat Ridge from Warrior Stadium there at Centaurus High School. That's going to be a fantastic game, certainly the game of the week in Class 4A, so make sure to tune into that coming up next week. Again, Wheat Ridge taking on Monarch. All right, that'll do it. Regular season over for Class 5A, 4A, 1 more week. Marty and I will be back next week to break down each of the 2 playoff brackets. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you again next week right here at ISPN.TV.